What I have here is a fairly rare HMV 101. This one is the dark blue color. It's a color machine. You can tell that right away because it has the nickel-plated hardware on the case. This is the dark blue. This was rather limited production in 1928 and 29. They made something like, I think, less than 1,300, somewhere around there, in this color. The reason being was it was hard to differentiate this machine from the all-black one. It was such a dark blue that from a distance, especially in a dark room, as you can see right here, this looks black. And a lot of people thought so too back then, so it didn't sell well. And consequently, not too many of them around today. But this is the dark blue 101, one of the hardest colors to find for this, or so I'm told. And other than that, it's mechanically like any other late 20s 101. No auto brake. It originally had a pot metal number 4 reproducer. That, of course, fell apart in a million pieces, and I had to import a replacement all-brass HMV number 4 from the UK to put on this machine. It is not wearing that reproducer right now. I have an early number 4 reproducer from an early front crank 101 on here because I rebuilt it for somebody, and I am testing it. Figured I might as well use a 101 to test it. Why not? And since I have to test the motor and all of that anyway. This one, it has the number 59 motor in it. The spring was bad, really bad. Back there it is. That's the smaller of those two springs. Even though those two springs are the same size, the smaller looking one. That is the one that came out of it. It's got deep rust pitting. It's a lot of crap on it. No good. And if you notice something, I took out another new spring, new old stock I should say, and put it next to it for comparison. You can see how the unused spring seems to be unwound quite a bit more. That's because it has more spring power to it. The old spring is just so used out that it won't even uncoil anymore when it's loose on the ground. That's pretty bad. The new one, while being old stock, and I'm sure it's not to brand new power, it is still in very good shape, and you can see it's unwound quite a bit more. In fact, it would unwind even more than that, but I have it kind of stuck up against the old ones. It doesn't just spring out across the floor and become a navigation hazard there for me. But I just wanted to show that, to show the difference between an old and very worn spring and one in better condition. You can tell sometimes without even playing them when you have them out. If they look like that, then you're not going to get much out of it. This is the one where either it won't play the record at all, or you'll have to wind it up halfway through the record, and who wants to do that? But let's take a look under the lid. And the reproducer that we're testing today already have a needle on it. You can see this is the early style with the lettering. Is that coming up on camera? I don't know if it is. Yeah, barely. Too much of a reflection. The early style has the lettering underneath. There you go. Underneath the diaphragm and not on the back. While the pot metal ones and the later all brass ones had it on the back. The lettering was on the back shell. And what do we have for a record here? That's Certain Party. Okay. Let's see. You got a needle on there? Yes, we do. Alright, let it spin up. It is so cold in here today that I have to play this right next to the wood stove. Can't really see what I'm doing.
turned-up nose, rosy cheeks, pretty clothes. Not for me. Has she got loving ways? Sure she has got loving ways. That certain body of mine.
Oil burner's down for repair, so the only heat we have in the building right now is the wood stove. Because of that, it was, I don't know, 37, 38 degrees in here this morning. And now it's probably a little 41, 42, if that. Even though I did use the thinnest possible grease in this, which is white grease, and I thinned it out even more, these motors are not powerhouses. Not like you'd find in a big tabletop or something like that, or a console. They're designed for a portable, specifically for a portable. It's not borrowed from something else, like Victor sometimes did, with the 50. It's designed for a portable. The spring is considered just enough for that purpose. So they figure you're going to be out on a nice summer day and playing your records in the field, whatever. They don't expect you to be contending with, 20-degree weather outdoors and trying to play your gramophone. That's not really how they were intended to be used. So what I've done is put the machine right next to the wood stove to catch the heat, to warm it up, to thin the grease out, because when grease gets cold, it gets thick. Thick enough that on a small motor like this, it can slow the motor up. It could even stop it. I've seen that happen, even with a good spring. It'll do it. And if you use thick grease, it'll do it even faster. So never use a thick grease on a small motor. Always use a thin grease, even Vaseline, which is about, actually I think Vaseline is a little thicker than white grease, which is what I like to use for tiny motors. All the Swiss machines use small, tiny little springs and stuff like that, and all the HMVs do. And the later portables, well, not so much Victor, because they did use a wider spring, a much heavier spring than HMV did for its later portables. Now the spring that's in this machine is actually exactly the same one as found in the late teens and early 20s Victor Victrola IV, the small tabletop machine. That's with a hook in the middle and an eyelet on the end where it attaches to the barrel, as you can see there. Well, you really can't, but there you go. It is. Take my word for it. And that's where I sourced the spring for this. I had some Victor springs lying around that were from those machines, new old stock ones, put one in there, and it's doing a lot better than that spring would do. And it's doing a lot better now that I've put it next to the heat. I had some worn records. It flat out would not play them. Just wouldn't do it. But these ones, good condition, early Victor Electros, is not having any problems playing those now that it's a little bit warmed up. And the grease is flowing a bit better. Especially considering it's, I just did the job on this. So it really hasn't had a chance to distribute too much of the grease around the motor yet. That's what it's doing now, in fact. That's why I'm playing at that end, to test that reproducer. Before I send the reproducer back, I want to make sure there are no problems. And I've actually played quite a few records already on this. And another machine, making sure everything was good. Ran into an unusual problem with this when I rebuilt it. I used a set of generic black gaskets that pretty much every part seller sells for the number 4. Victor number 4s used a black gasket, rubber gasket, while HMVs used a red rubber gasket. So you can always tell the difference right away, even though there's styling differences on the Victor number 4 as well. For some reason, I noticed when I wiggled the needle bar a little bit that the diaphragm seemed to be moving very easily in the shell. It's moving back and forth like this, and it shouldn't be doing it a little bit. You obviously don't twist your needle bar trying to do that, but really shouldn't be any perceptible movement there side to side when you just wiggle the needle bar a little bit. That's too loose. Usually the problem with these is you have to let them sit on the counter a while because the gaskets compress and, you know, the diaphragm finds its own level in the shell. Then you put the needle bar on, you know, a few days later, even a week later. In this case, it wouldn't have made any difference because there didn't seem to be any compression going on. So what is going on here? So I had to use a set of my custom-made gaskets that I got for a friend of mine a few years back. And they're actually in the right color, which is better. It's the HMV red, so close to it anyway. And these ones, you do have to have some compression. You know, the diaphragm shouldn't be clamped in there like stone, but it should have, you know, it shouldn't be able to just slide around in there. It shouldn't have that much freedom of movement. It's got to be a little bit of clamp power between the gaskets to hold the diaphragm in place, so it's not bouncing around or potentially causing air leaks or other trouble. And let's wind it up. In the cold, always start with full power on the spring. No matter what kind of spring it is or what condition it is, give it full power. That way, there are no slow ups or other problems. And you can see the blue a little bit better right there on the inner lid. And of course, the felt is blue too. That was a dead giveaway when I saw this machine for sale. It had a blue felt on a turntable. I said, well, that's definitely not a black machine. No auto stop on this one, so we have to do it ourselves. Let's see, what do we got next in the little pile here? How about stepping out? Let's see if that one will play. I think that's another early Victor Electric memory serves. Full power to spring. I wonder what made them decide to use such a dark colored blue. I mean, they had other shades, could have easily gone a few shades lighter and differentiated it from the black one much better, but for some reason they didn't. Oh, they did later on with the 102 that came out with the lighter color, and I guess the crocodile skin one, and I've had one of those in a video, is very close to the same shade, but it has the lighter accents for the fake crocodile skin, so you can tell the difference very easily between that and basic black. Now, personally, I never had any problems with basic black. It's perfectly good. It's how the machine works that matters, not what color it is. And so far, so good. She's playing good. No problems. And that was, what was that? Stepping out. We are stepping out. I'm going south. Let's try that one. Looks a little worn, but if it don't play it, it don't play it. Not the end of the world. Plenty more records of that came from. And this is also another earlier Victor Electric, roughly contemporary to the time of the machine, and definitely contemporary to the time of the reproducer. Which the reproducer, I guess, they started making 101s October 1925, and they finished in 31, so this is probably going to be a reproducer from 25 or 26, maybe the very earliest, early 27. I think they stopped making them that way. Too bad, really, because this is a better looking reproducer with the lettering in the front, I think. I mean, they're identical. The all brass ones, they don't make them any different. You know, the clamshells are all identical, except that one has lettering on the back, one has lettering on the front. On the back, you never see the lettering. On the front, you do. Now it says, his master's voice and all of that. And that's something that Victor never did, actually. Or did they? No. I'm sorry. No, Victor did do that. What am I saying? Yeah, I'm thinking of the number 2. All right. Let's see. Carefully. It's dark in here. I can't see what I'm doing. There we go. Wonder if we have time for one more. These videos generally run in half-hour segments on this camera for some reason. Let's see if I have anything available here that I haven't played lately. Probably played all of these lately. Most of them anyway. I don't know if Yankee Rose will play. To give it a shot. Oh, that's worn. Oh boy. Yeah, that's in pretty bad shape. Let's see. Maybe. Oh, we're not playing that one. That is not a good content record. That one is 40 years older than the machine. There we go. Venetian Love Boat. I don't know. Might have played that before, might have not. We'll try. If it gets cut off in the middle, you know, it's because it reached a half-hour length and that was it. I'll have to get a newer camera one day that allows me to make longer videos. Don't know why this one doesn't, but that's just the way it's made. Full power to the spring. It's nice how these are so smooth. No return spring on there. Okay. Dark in here. I can't see what the heck I'm doing. There we go. Alrighty. Successful testing of this particular number 4 reproducer. And the motor seems to be operating very well on this rare dark blue 101.